On June 10, 2025, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, conducted a raid at Glen Valley Foods, a meatpacking plant in Omaha, Nebraska. The operation led to the arrest of over 70 undocumented immigrants. It was one of the largest immigration enforcement actions in Nebraska since President Donald Trump began his second term. The raid sparked mixed reactions. Some supported stricter immigration laws, while others, including immigrant rights groups and local residents, criticized the action. If you're interested in this topic, comment number 1. This translation provides a clear, neutral overview of the event, its impacts, and community responses based on news reports and X posts as of July 2025. The raid took place in the morning, involving ICE, the FBI, the DEA, and the U.S. Marshal Service. ICE described it as part of an ongoing criminal investigation into large-scale illegal immigrant employment and identity theft affecting over 100 U.S. citizens. Between 74 and 76 workers were arrested, many accused of using fake Social Security numbers or stolen identities to secure jobs. Here are key details from ICE and news sources. Number of arrests: about 74 to 76 workers, over half of the plant's 140 employees at the time. Legal status: most detainees lacked legal work authorization in the U.S. Some faced charges for immigration violations, using fake documents, illegal re-entry, or resisting arrest. Identity theft. Impact: Homeland Security Investigations Agent Elric Surden reported that the workers used the identities of over 100 U.S. citizens, mostly of Latino descent, from various states. Victims faced severe consequences, like losing federal student aid, disability benefits, or health insurance due to misreported income. For example, a disabled person in Texas lost Social Security benefits because their identity was used at Glen Valley Foods. Another victim in California spent nearly 15 years resolving financial damage from identity theft. After the raid, 63 people were held at the Lincoln County Detention Center, about 300 miles from Omaha. Others were deported or transferred to out-of-state facilities. 7 faced charges, including 1 for using another person's Social Security number, and 4, including 2 U.S. citizens, for obstructing law enforcement during the raid. Glen Valley Foods, which processes beef, chicken, and corned beef for grocery stores and restaurants, used the E-Verify system to check workers' immigration status. Company president Chad Hartman said he was shocked by the raid and insisted the company followed the law. The raid had significant effects on the plant and surrounding community. Production disruption. The plant operated at 30% staff, with output dropping to 20% of normal levels. Many workers who weren't arrested stopped showing up due to fear or emotional distress. This raised concerns about the food supply chain, especially with beef prices already high due to a 70-year low in U.S. cattle numbers caused by prolonged drought. Labor shortages. Over 50% of U.S. meatpacking workers are immigrants, including undocumented ones, according to the Center for Economic and Policy Research. The raid worsened labor shortages in an industry already hit hard by COVID-19-related closures. Community impact. South Omaha, where 25% of residents are foreign-born per the 2020 census, felt the fallout. Local businesses, including a library and community college, closed temporarily due to safety concerns. Some students skipped summer school, and workers in construction, food, and agriculture stayed home. Market analysts and cattle traders worried that such raids could disrupt national food production, especially with labor shortages and rising feed costs. Some warned that continued actions could drive up food prices and destabilize supply chains, directly affecting consumers. Reactions reflected in X posts and media were divided. Support for strict immigration policies. Posts like one from Berrykind called the raid necessary to address illegal immigration and identity theft. Supporters argued that workers using fake documents weren't just hardworking, but lawbreakers harming U.S. citizens. Some claimed employers knowingly ignored immigration status to pay low wages and avoid benefits. Opposition from immigrant rights groups. Organizations like the Center for Progress and Immigrants in Omaha and Omaha. Rapid Response offered legal aid and safe spaces for affected families. Ann Worth, deputy legal director at the center, described detainees as honest, hardworking people stuck in a system with too few legal pathways to stay in the U.S. Protests outside the plant led to clashes with police, with some protesters charged with obstructing justice. Local concerns. Activists and residents, quoted in X-Posts and Flatwater Free Press, called the raid a shock that spread fear. Sophie James from the Isanti Dakota Nation criticized immigration enforcement as hypocritical, citing the U.S. government's history of land theft. The community worried that raids would continue in Omaha and spread to other cities. By July 2025, the Trump administration had ramped up immigration enforcement nationwide. ICE reported arresting over 66,000 undocumented immigrants and deporting about $65,000 in the first 100 days of Trump's second term, from January 20th to May 2025. About 75% had criminal records, but the Washington Post noted over 60% of deportees had no prior convictions, fueling debate over the scope of these operations. The Glen Valley Foods raid aligned with Trump's goal of detaining 3,000 immigrants daily, as reported by NBC News. However, in mid-June, Trump paused raids on farms and hotels after pressure from Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins, who stressed the role of immigrant labor in agriculture. Some Trump supporters, like activist Jack Posobiec, criticized the pause, arguing all undocumented immigrants should be targeted. By late June, enforcement resumed, including at food processing plants like Glen Valley Foods. The raid highlights the complexity of U.S. immigration policy. On one hand, ICE disrupted a significant identity theft network, protecting U.S. citizens from financial and legal harm. Cooperation with local law enforcement showed a commitment to enforcing immigration laws and national security. On the other hand, the raid disrupted production at Glen Valley Foods and spread fear among Omaha's immigrant community, potentially harming the local economy and food supply chain. Critics argue targeting non-criminal undocumented workers, many of whom have lived and worked in the U.S. for years, hurts vulnerable communities without addressing immigration's root causes. Long-term, the raid underscores the need for immigration reform to provide legal pathways for workers in industries like meatpacking, which rely heavily on immigrant labor. Some bipartisan voices, including congressional representatives, have pushed for a 2019 bill to protect farm workers' legal status, but Congress has yet to act. The ICE raid at Glen Valley Foods in June 2025 illustrates the challenges of U.S. immigration enforcement. With over 70 arrests and an identity theft network dismantled, the operation met some security goals. Yet, it also caused economic disruption, community fear, and renewed debates over balancing public safety, human rights, and the need for labor in essential industries. As ICE's enforcement continues in July 2025, the question of how to address these issues remains unresolved. This article has utilized reliable sources and perspectives from social media to provide a comprehensive view. For a deeper understanding, readers can refer to statements from DHS, CBP, or reports from Reuters, The Guardian, and WOLA.
Right here, we're not doing the CBP Air 2 anymore. You want to use that? Other than that, do it.
I know we're going to be exiting and making entry.
Morning, some people coming and going. They've been out here on surveillance.
Yeah, don't let any of the officer boys leave.
We think it's just family.
Yeah, don't let any of the officers.
He always goes shirt.
You want it behind you or the other side of you?
Can you go okay. I have a warrant for you. So relax, okay? Got contact. Manos arriba!
So we're heading about half a minute.
Sí, me siento un poquito mal.
As long as you check out. Information to be in both places. Take that.
Okay. Su apellido es Lorenzo.
And
Maybe I did.
Oh, George.
He's got it. Come back up there. I don't know.
Hey,
Those are talking about there's cameras outside the.
¿Es tu apartamento?
No.
¿De solo?
We think it's just family.
None of these guys for a sec. I'm gonna go get a black marker.